I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, and this is Boo. Boo, say hi to everybody. There you go. And I am commonly known as Carol the Coach. And, so oftentimes, whether you're an addict or a partner, you worry about how you can regulate your emotions. Now, you all know that I believe there are 5 primary emotions, and they are anger, sadness, loneliness, fear, and happiness. And all the other emotions fall underneath them. You say, I am irritated. Well, that's usually anger. You say, I'm annoyed. Well, that also is anger. You say, I'm scared. Well, that is fear. You say, I'm anxious. Well, that is fear. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about fear, because fear will immobilize you. Fear will put you into one of 3 states: flight, fright, or freeze. And I want to help you to center yourself, to resource, and to really be able to regulate that sense of fear with your own empowerment. And here's how you do it. First of all, you have to go with what you think. Now, whenever I'm afraid, and I've been through something traumatic, I say to myself, this too shall pass, because I guarantee you it always will. I also ask myself, will this matter 10 years from now? I put it in perspective. Now, if you're living with an addict and you're fearing that he or she will slip or relapse, you always are waiting for the other shoe to fall. And I'm going to ask you to take control yourself, to say, you know what, my sense of mental health is not dependent on what my partner does. I can be grounded. I can breathe in very comfortable, relaxing, peaceful colors. Pick a color. What would represent that color of serenity? And breathe it in. And imagine that it goes all the way into your nose, through the lungs, and to the diaphragm. And then ask yourself, if I were going to blow out stress, if I were going to blow out anxiety, if I were going to blow out my fear that he or she is going to relapse, or my fear that I'm going to cause my partner to have triggers, pick a color. And typically, although I'm not promoting these 3 colors, but typically those 3 colors are anger. Anger is black, fear is red or orange. Okay, so breathe in a color that represents serenity, and breathe out the color of stress. And then I got to tell you, I'm going to ask you, what kind of personality are you? If you're prone to anxiety, if you're prone to fear, are you somebody who feels like they have to control everything, and now your whole life is out of control? Or are you somebody who wants your life to be perfect, and you thought you had a perfect life until you realized your addiction took hold, or until you realized that your addict husband or wife was leading and living a dual life? Okay, do you want to be perfect? Do you want control? Do you have difficulty surrendering to that experience that, you know what, no matter how bad it gets, you are a survivor. You are a thriver. You are going to make it, and you're going to be better for it. I'm not saying that anybody should have to undergo addiction or undergo loving someone with an addiction, but I am telling you that I know for a fact that this too shall pass, that you will get stronger, that you can get centered, and you absolutely can grow stronger, because that's what life has to deal. Life deals us issues, situations, and experiences that we're to grow from. And I know that's hard to believe, and boy, there's a part of you that doesn't even want to believe it. Come on. But what I do believe, and I promise you this, is that when you learn how to control your emotions, you will no longer be enslaved to another person, and you won't be enslaved to the addiction. So I'm going to ask you to find resources that help to stabilize you and center you, that make you feel like you have a higher power, you have something other than yourself that's greater that you can depend on. Find resources whereby you can talk to somebody who's not going to judge you or judge your family, judge your husband, judge your wife. And be honest and vulnerable about your feelings, because when you do, then you're authentic and you're true to yourself. And that is so very important when you're learning how to regulate your feelings and deal with anxiety. Because only you know whether you want life to be perfect and now your whole world is crumbled. Only you know whether you want control. Only you know whether things in your past have caused you never to believe that you deserve serenity. You know, we talk about anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and complex post-traumatic stress. And the difference between the three is that anxiety is normal, natural, and necessary when something occurs in your life. And post-traumatic stress is when you've experienced it to such a degree that you're hypervigilant, that you have breathing issues, that your heart palpitates, that you don't know whether you can trust the world around you. And complex post-traumatic stress is when you've experienced stress as a child, as a teenager, as a college student, as a young adult. Maybe you were raped, maybe you were involved in incest, maybe you watched a family member get hurt, maybe you lived with alcohol or substance abuse, but you grew very aware of how noticing your surroundings was going to keep you alive, was going to keep you healthy. And then somehow, some way, somewhere, you either married an addict, a sex addict, or if you're an addict, you created self-soothing behaviors that actually would contribute to the demise of your authenticity. It would contribute to you not being able to depend on yourself, not being authentic, knowing that you were deceitful, and knowing that you were lying to yourself and others. And then ultimately, you were hypervigilant about who would know, who might guess. And that is always such a very difficult position for an addict or a partner to be in. So again, I want you to center yourself. I want you to create resources. I want you to have something that you can go to, whether that's running, whether that's yoga, whether that's Pilates, whether that's meditation, whether that's prayer, something that calms you and brings about a sense of, I'm not in this alone, I have support people, and I have my own inner strength. Because no matter what happens externally, you have to have the internal resources to get through the crisis, whether that's your own addiction or the addiction of someone you love. So ask yourself, can I write down 10 or 15 resources that will help to remind me that I'm strong, I'm a survivor, and I'm competent, capable, and competent? I know you don't feel it, but you know what I do believe? Words shape attitude. And when you have positive thoughts about yourself, as opposed to saying, I'm falling apart, you say, I can handle this. As opposed to saying, I am wounded and I don't know how I'm going to make it. You say, you know what, I'll get through this. Whether it be with your higher power, your fellowship, or the people around you. Now, if you don't have those resources, then come on. you need to get them because you can't do it alone. And that's what I'm here for. Watch my videos. I'll help you through this, but I'm not enough. You have to have support systems outside, whether that be the church, whether that be a fellowship, whether that be, S-Anon, SAA, SA, COSA. You got to have those outside resources so that you don't reinvent the wheel and you find out you're not alone. And in the meantime, listen to my radio show, Sex Help with Carol the Coach, on blogtalkradio.com. Because I interview the experts that'll help you get through this crisis, whether you're the addict or the loved one of an addict. We're in this together. I'm here to make it easier. And I want you to know there are resources out there, whether it be books, whether it be treatment centers, whether it be counselors or coaches. There is help for you. I gotta go. I got a radio show to do. But I do want you to know there is hope, strength, and recovery when you work it. Right, Boo? Hey, Boo-Boo. Boodamus. Boobalicious. Hi, baby. Say goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye. Even Boo knows that you can get through this. Hey, adopted animal. They're the best unconditional love you can get. As you can see, I love mine. All right. Talk to you soon for more Sex Help with Carol, the Coach.